You know, my boy, when I was your age, the sky over England didn't sound the way it does today. It wasn't calm. It wasn't kind. It roared. Every child learned to listen not for birds or church bells, but for sirens. That was the sound of fear back then. I remember the first time I heard it, that long, rising wail echoing through the streets like a scream from the heavens. My mother froze. Her hands trembled as she turned off the lights. "Edward, quickly, to the shelter," she cried. We ran, our shoes slapping against the cobblestones, the air heavy with smoke and rain. I was 8 years old, and the world felt like it was ending every night. The shelter was small, damp, and smelled of earth and metal. We'd huddle together, neighbors, friends, strangers. The walls dripped with condensation, and someone always tried to start a joke, just to make the children laugh. But the laughter never lasted long, because then came the hum, low at first, then louder, until the ground began to shake. That sound, the engines of the bombers, it had a rhythm, a pattern you could almost count. I used to press my hands over my ears, but it didn't matter. The sound would find you anyway. And then, boom, the air itself would tear apart. The lamps would flicker. Dust would fall from the ceiling. And all we could do was wait for the silence that came after. But silence was never peace. Silence was a question. Who's still alive up there? I remember once, after a raid, I asked my mother if the sky would ever be quiet again. She just smiled, a tired, fragile smile, and said, "Someday, love, someday." That night, I dreamed of a sky without sirens. And for years, that dream kept me alive. One morning, after what felt like endless nights underground, the sirens stopped. No one dared to move at first. We just listened. The silence was so deep it hurt. And then faintly we heard the chirping of birds. I'll never forget that sound. It was the most beautiful song I'd ever heard. When we finally climbed out of the shelter, the city didn't look like London anymore. Streets I once played on were gone. Houses were reduced to piles of bricks and smoke. And yet, people were already sweeping the dust from their doorsteps, even if there was no door left. There was an old woman pushing a cart, handing out cups of tea in tin mugs. "A bit of warmth, dear?" she said, her voice soft and cracked. That was the spirit of the English, beaten, but never broken. I remember helping my mother clear the rubble from what used to be our kitchen. She found her old teapot, dented, blackened, but still whole, and said, "See, Edward, even the war couldn't take this from us." That afternoon, she boiled water over a small fire made of broken furniture. And there, amid the ruins, we had tea. I can still taste it. Smoke, ashes, and something warm that wasn't just heat. Hope. That's what it tasted like. In the days that followed, life continued, as it always does. The milkman came back. Children played marbles in the rubble. People laughed softly, carefully, as if testing whether it was allowed again. But even in that laughter, you could hear the ghosts of what we'd lost. I used to look up at the empty sky and wonder where the noise had gone. It felt strange, almost lonely to live without the constant roar. That's the funny thing about fear, my boy. When you live with it long enough, silence feels unfamiliar. Years later, when the war finally ended, the streets filled with celebration. Flags, songs, tears. People danced on the ruins as if joy itself had won the battle. But I remember standing quietly by the river, watching the sky. I didn't cheer. I just listened, waiting to be sure. And when I realized the silence was real, I cried. Not from sadness, not from joy, from relief. You see, peace has a sound too. It's gentle, and it lives in the spaces between heartbeats. That night, I lay in bed with the window open, hearing nothing but the wind in the trees. For the first time in years, I fell asleep without fear. But peace didn't erase the memories. Every loud bang, every slamming door took me back. Even now, when thunder rolls in the distance, I still flinch a little. You never truly leave those sounds behind. They become part of who you are. I grew up, found work, fell in love, and had your father. And yet, sometimes, in the middle of an ordinary day, the clatter of a passing train or the hum of an airplane overhead brings it all back. The fear, the hope, the child I once was. I used to think that surviving the war made me strong, but now I think it made me gentle, because when you've seen how fragile the world can be, you learn to hold it softly. That's why I never raise my voice, my boy. The world's loud enough as it is, and when I look at you, safe, warm, without sirens, I know every sleepless night was worth it. Because peace, true peace, isn't just quiet skies. It's seeing your grandchild laugh without fear. These days, the sky outside my window is calm. The city glows at night. The same streets that once shook with bombs now shimmer with laughter and lights. Sometimes I walk past the old shelters. They're filled with flowers now. And I stop for a moment, just to listen to the silence that once terrified me, but now comforts me. You know, when you get to my age, memories start to blur. You forget names, places, but you never forget feelings. And I remember the feeling of being small, afraid, but holding my mother's hand, knowing that as long as I held on, I'd be safe. That's what I hope you remember too. Not the noise of life, but the hands that keep you safe in the storm. One day, when I'm gone, and you hear the wind whistling through the windows, don't be afraid of it. That's just the world breathing. The same world that once screamed, now whispers, and every whisper carries the same message. We survived. So whenever you sit here, by the fire, and you hear the silence between the crackles, think of me. Think of the boy who once sat under a broken sky and dreamed of this quiet life. Because, my dear boy, this silence, this beautiful, living silence, is the sound of everything we fought for, and it's yours to keep. Now, go on. Fetch your blanket. It's getting late. Let the wind sing its lullaby, and let the silence tell its story. The war ended long ago, but the peace remains.